What is up, guys? Back at it again with another episode of the Building a Buzz podcast. It's been some time, and I want to start spending more time back on this podcast, but there's been so much going on in the last year to 2 years, and I wanted to use this episode to kind of come in here, give everyone an update on what's been going on. I'm doing a 120-day course with Gary Vee and his team. I've learned a whole lot in the last several months, over a year. And I kind of wanted to wrap that all up into one podcast and really get this podcast back up and running in a place that it should be, because I think this could provide a lot of value for a lot of people. So a couple quick things that have been going on in my life. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the background. But if you're listening to this in podcast format, I've got a full kind of podcast studio room in the house. So now I can really focus on creating content in an easy way. All I've got to do is turn on some lights, turn the camera on, and turn the computer on, and we're off and running. Before, it was always like I had to clear a space to do a podcast or do it downstairs or just create a creative space. And now that I have one, I really want to utilize it for what it is. And the sound in here should be pretty good. So if you can hear the quality, I hope that all of these sound panels around me and above me in here are helping create a better experience for you guys, for the listeners or the viewers or anyone that's tuning in. The business side of things, we're up to 32 locations now. We just opened one in North Carolina in the Outer Banks. We just opened one in Austin, Texas. So we're at like 32 locations, which is just crazy. Starting this business out, I remember 5 being like this crazy number and then 10 being a crazy number and so on. And to be at 32, it feels crazy. I've been really working on like fine-tuning processes and just figuring out more efficiencies and working on bettering myself and also bettering the business. And last year I had a director of operations who then went on to actually become a franchisee. So now I'm also having to like rehire for that position. So that's been something that's been happening in the last couple months or so. But I really want to focus on kind of like building out efficiencies and not having to add too many people to the corporate team. One thing I've learned recently is that adding people can add confusion as much as it can take stuff off of your plate, right? So the more people you add, the more ways that you're playing the telephone game essentially, and information can get lost. So if you don't have really good processes, I've figured out that that's the spot to start, and then hiring should come after that. So I've spent a lot of time recently just kind of like updating our processes, creating efficiencies, and really allowing the business to work for us rather than us having to, work in the business so much every day. The last 16 months, I have had 3 different random surgeries, which has slowed me down a little bit, but I'm finally feeling good again and wanting to really pursue content creation, podcasting, all of these things on a much higher level than I have. But it started out with a random ankle surgery about a year and a half ago now, maybe about 16 months ago. My ankle just started swelling up one day, and over the course of like 3 days, it got massive and ended up waking up in the middle of my sleep at a hotel up in Gainesville at like 4 a.m. And I couldn't put any pressure on it, couldn't put any weight on it. And it was huge and it was red. And I was like, what the heck is going on? At first, it was kind of a joke between me and Tia that I thought my 2 dogs, I have 2 golden retrievers that are, 80 pounds. I thought they had like slept on the blanket on each side of my foot for a period of time one night, and that's why I woke up with like a sore ankle. But it turns out when I got to the hospital, they thought I had sepsis or septic arthritis, which means an infection of the blood around the joints. So they ended up doing emergency surgery on my ankle that day, and they sent it off for cultures and testing and whatever. Turns out it was not It was not that. And in fact, it was gout. And I didn't realize anyone in my family had a history of gout until this happened. And then like four people in my family were like, oh yeah, like I have gout. They just kind of have lived with it and dealt with it. And I didn't know that they had it. So randomly at the age of 31, I get diagnosed with having gout, which is just super random, and had to go through that ankle surgery. Was in the hospital for like 5 days. They had a tube in my ankle. They were checking on me. One of the unfortunate events of being there for so long was they kept having to change my IV that they gave me, and they would have to like find a new pricking spot in my arm. And it took them one night like 14 pricks to find to be able to get to where they needed to get to. And I was so frustrated by like the eighth prick that they're like, hey, can you please stop being tense? And I'm like, I don't think that's possible at this point. So that was kind of what kicked off these surgeries and randomness in the last 16 months. Right as that happened, and right after that was happening, Tia and I were moving into this new house. So we moved down from Orlando back home, and we were moving into the new house. I can't do anything on my ankle. They told me not to put like any weight on it for like 5 weeks. So, I'm on a scooter and I can't do anything. And we've got a 2-story house. So like, I can't get upstairs. I can't help move anything, which was good for me because I didn't have to help at all, but also bad for me because I wanted to help. And I felt bad for watching other people come and help move all of our stuff. But yeah, it was just kind of this crazy thing that happened, turned out to be gout. And now I just kind of have to watch what I eat. I can't really drink any alcohol or else I'll get flare-ups and stuff like that. So it's made me a little bit more conscious about my health, which I think in the long term is a good thing. And, it's really made me pay a little bit more attention to what I'm putting into my body. So that happened. There was a couple like random complications with blood circulation after that, whatever. Fast forward another like 6 months. And one day I wake up with this like excruciating pain in my side, and turns out that my appendix wanted to come out. So 6 months after I have this ankle surgery, I'm like finally better, back to my normal self. And then all of a sudden, boom, I've got my appendix needs to come out. So, did that surgery, and that was a couple days of recovery. And then fast forward maybe 10 months after that, you may be able to still hear it, but before this, I have always been a little congested and have had like, sinus infections and stuff like that. So went to see like an ear, nose, and throat. Turns out that my septum was deviated and my sinuses were just like full. They needed to be cleaned out, cleared out, whatever you want to call it. So end up doing a full procedure for that. Man, the recovery on that, if you have ever had that, I apologize. I'm sorry for you because that is not fun. They put tubes in your nose. You can't breathe through your nose. You have to breathe through your mouth for like 10 days, and you got to sleep sitting up. I actually lost my sense of smell and taste for like 3 weeks, which was kind of interesting. Just the aftermath of all of that was tough to recover from, just a lot of like stuff coming out of your nasal cavity and your sinuses and stuff like that. So that was not a fun recovery, but needless to say, I've had 3 random different surgeries in the last 16 months, and those have slowed me down, although you can't slow me down too much because here I am, right? So that kind of leads into what I think the bigger point of this kind of podcast episode is really like working on bettering myself and the business, and the continuous need for better processes for my life and processes for the business and everything in between. Like that is kind of the basis of where I'm at now in my life and why I've started this 120-day course with Gary Vee. It's called Vive, Vyve. And so I wanted to go into that and talk about why I've started this 120-day course. I call it a course, but really they're calling it like a high performance accelerator program. So a course is just a quicker way for me to say that high performance accelerator program every time, right? So I'm just going to refer to it as a course, but it's really not a course. Like he's not teaching us a course. There are different speakers and I'll get into all of that, but I just kind of wanted to clarify what it is. So essentially it's a 120-day program. So 4 months long with four like C-suite executives from pretty well-known companies and then six entrepreneurs like myself or business owners or CEOs of maybe smaller companies that are kind of put together in this program in a really cool way that we can learn from each other. Whereas these C-suite executives can kind of see how us like scrappy entrepreneurs are doing things. And us scrappy entrepreneurs get to see how it's done from like a really high level of like Fortune 500 company level. And for me, it gives me a whole new perspective on like growth and the way that things work at a higher level and all of these things. So a big part of Vive is having 9 other individuals that have their own journeys and own experiences that we can share with each other, learnings and happenings and all of these things that we can discuss amongst each other to hopefully better ourselves and better our businesses. And that was one of the big selling points for me. I really love the aspect of networking. I think that's what kind of my life has been up to this point, is just a continuous networking thing. Back when I was making music, it was all about networking. When you first start growing a business, it's all about networking. As you continue to grow a business, it's still about networking. And so I found that like at the foundation of what I really enjoy, networking is one of those things. And so to be able to network with these 9 other high performance individuals and with the Gary Vee team, like it just made sense for me. I really, really thought that if I'm going to invest in myself and better my business, like what better way to do it than learning from these types of people? I don't know if you guys have felt like this, if you're an entrepreneur or not, but I feel like there's been a lot of times where I'm at like a lower, maybe like a conference or just a meetup or something like that. And I want to feel like I'm the dumbest in the room. I want everyone around me to be so smart that like I'm just taking in so much information and learning and learning and learning. But I felt like in a lot of these situations I've been in before, people are coming to me and asking me questions. And, I sometimes feel like the expert in the room and I don't want to feel like that. I want to keep learning from people. So I need to put myself in different rooms. And I think that's what I've learned. And putting myself in this room of 9 other people, and then Gary's team, the 2 people that are spearheading Vive, Andrea and James, they are legends in their own right. James has helped Gary expand his whole organization of over 2,000 people across different markets and internationally and things like that. And then Andrea used to be high up for Gary Vee in Vayner and has done a lot of marketing things. And so they know so many people. They know a lot of things about a lot of things. And just them two alone, having the access to them, to me, I think is worth it because the value that they can provide on problems or situations or things that you're going through are so worth it. Not only that, but we also get an executive coach throughout this whole 120-day thing. So there's a psychologist that works for Vayner that is very, very knowledgeable in being an executive coach. And so I've I've had a few sessions with her, and she has really helped me with this whole hiring process of getting a new director of operations or senior operations manager. And she's really helped me like talk through some of the issues that, that I may have from a professional level or a personal level. And that alone has also been super, super helpful to have another perspective from a high level executive coach like that really knows her stuff has been super helpful. At the beginning of it, we did like this print assessment, PRINT, and I thought that was really interesting. It was really telling, and I thought it hit the nail perfectly on the head. I haven't done too many of those personality test things. Like I'm always a little skeptical, but this print assessment was actually like very spot on. And then she spent the time to also have a session with Tia and then my mom and my brother to learn from three different perspectives on the type of person I am to get not only my side of it, but other people's sides of who I am so that she can be a better coach throughout this time. So that's been another huge reason of why I've wanted to do this. But there's so many more. Why would someone pay tens of thousands of dollars to do this, right? Like I paid tens of thousands of dollars to take this course. One of the big selling points as well is just the speakers that they have come and talk to us on a weekly basis. So upcoming, we have like a shark from Shark Tank on a Zoom call. In the past, we've had someone that's about fine-tuning efficiencies in your processes, and we've also had someone come in and talk about reframing. We've done a few reframing sessions, which have been super, super helpful. I learned a whole lot about using the term "I wonder if ... or "what if ... and it really makes you reframe how you think a problem or think about something that you're going through. So I thought that was awesome to have. We've had so many like bestsellers and just a lot of different people. JMO, who's the head of paid media for Gary, has come on and talked to us all about paid media. So these things that are like actionable, deliverable things that we can do instantly after we get off these calls have been extremely helpful. And then we did like a deep dive session on LinkedIn. We've done so many things already, and it's only been like the first month. And so I'm really excited for the remainder of it. But I think what I've gotten out of it so far is, one, it's opened my eyes to a whole new network of people. Two, I've gotten these really actionable things from the different people that have come on, whether it be the executive coach, whether it be the reframing, whether it be the fine-tuning your processes and your business, whether it be paid media. Like I've gotten some really, really good things out of it already. I forgot to mention the whole thing started off in New York, which was freaking crazy. We closed the NASDAQ bell with Gary to kind of announce the release of his new book, Day Trading Attention. So you can go back and like watch that online. I was literally like on the stage as he's closing the final bell, and that was an experience in itself. We went to the top of the rock. We went to Little Maven, which is Gary's restaurant or a restaurant that he's involved with, and we did, and then that was like day one. Day two, we had like sessions about ourselves as who we are, and we got a little vulnerable and emotional with each other. We did a timeline of our life and some of the high parts and low parts so that the other 9 people and everyone involved can learn a little bit more about us, and it made us all feel a little bit more connected. So we did that. We did some sessions while we were there. We did a lot in these 2 days that started this all out in person. And then now we've kind of been remote doing these weekly calls digitally. And then at the end of it, we get to do like a 3-day retreat in New Mexico with Chip Conley, who's an old higher up in Airbnb. When I say old, I mean like a previous higher up in Airbnb. He now has his own thing and does, I think it's called like the modern elder academy or something like that. And it's not necessarily elder in the term of like being old. It's more of elder in the term of being wise. And so I'm really interested to do that full 3 days and get to hang out with everyone at the end of this and walk away with kind of like tying a bow on this. We also have like so many sessions left. We have 3-hour deep dives that we do once a month on our business and things that we can be doing. We have a community app that we like communicate with each other in all the time, and there's always updates, and you see cool things that other people are doing that you can apply to your business. So like all of those things make it so worth it to me. Andrea and James have been super, super helpful and also connecting me to people that I really want to be connected to. So, for example, I feel like I don't have a mentor when it comes to franchising. I listen to a lot of podcasts and newsletters and whatever, but like to have a one-on-one with someone can mean a whole lot more than just listening to someone. And so they've kind of introduced me to someone who was really big in the Subway franchise. And him and I have had a lot of good conversations, and we're continuing to have a lot of good conversations. And so I'm excited to have a different perspective on franchising instead of just thinking about these things in my head. Like now I can discuss them with someone who's been through it. He's grown like over 100 units himself. And so being able to understand from someone that's been through it and talk about the challenges and the things that you should look out for and so on and so forth, like that has been so worth it for me as well. They connected me with someone who's helping us create a mascot for the business. They are willing to kind of open their Rolodex and connect you with people that will really help your business. Also getting to have like side sessions with any of the coaches that have came through. So I'm really looking forward to talking with JMO, the head of paid media for Gary, about what we can be doing differently with our paid media, whether that's Google ads, Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads. Like I'm really, really interested to dive in a little bit deeper with him. So we're getting all of these things out of this. And I've never I've heard of like courses online and these high performance groups that you can be a part of to pay to networking groups and types of things. And they're kind of like putting all of those together and more in this 120-day course. So that's why I really wanted to do this. And then not to mention like the access to Gary as well. I've got a one-on-one phone call or Zoom call with Gary coming up next month. And I'm really looking forward to diving a little bit deeper on things within my business or my personal brand, things like that. So you get access to Gary, which is also amazing. And we had lunch with him back when we were in New York, and he stopped by at the dinner. Obviously saw him at the NASDAQ thing and got to see him do a fireside chat there. So the access is also part of what I'm getting out of this. And I truly believe that Gary knows what he's doing when it comes to marketing. And again, I don't know if it's just me or if you guys feel like this if you own a business, but I almost feel like I own a marketing business that just happens to do kayaking. Like so much of what I do on the daily is stuff that involves marketing. I think with any business, like it comes down to how do you get customers? How do you get attention to your business? And I think Gary has been one of those people that continues to get insane amount of attention across the internet on all different channels. And he's someone that is actually doing it. I think that's the difference with Gary, whereas other people talk about it and they, oh, I've got the best team. They know how to do this, but Gary does it daily. And that's what he goes deep in on his new book, which I have listened through on the audio version. I'm not much of a reader, but I listened all the way through it. And if you guys haven't got it and listened to it yet, I highly recommend Day Trading Attention. Not just because I'm in this program, not just because I really like Gary Vee and what he has to say, but because honestly, you will get so much out of that book and you will walk away with like actionable things that you can do in your business today that will make a difference. So I really think that you should consider getting Day Trading Attention. Just throwing that in there because I've gotten a lot of value out of it so far. But yeah, tens of thousands of dollars for this high performance accelerator program. I already think it's worth it. And I've only been a month in, so I know after another 3 months and getting more value and more value and more value, that is only going to add up over time. So I'm really looking forward to these next few months to see what else comes out of it, to continue to kind of like build these relationships with the other people that are involved in it, and just continue to push myself and my business. I think they're there kind of like holding you accountable, and they want to see you doing the things that we're going over in all of these sessions. And I think like that's another inherent part of it that like you don't think of right off the bat, but it really does help to know that you have someone in your corner that's pushing you and trying to help you with your business, with your personal life, whatever it is. Like they all want me and my business to succeed. And that's for the other 9 people as well. Like they're all in our corner and they're all such great people. Like, I don't know how Gary does it, but like everyone I've met at Vayner has been like extremely willing to help and give their time, give their effort. And for nothing. Like yeah, I've I guess it's not for nothing because I paid, but like these side conversations I've had, those are the ones that like they didn't expect to come in and have these side conversations, yet they're so willing to spend extra time. The Andrea and James who are putting this thing together, like they're so willing to spend extra time to see you better yourself. And I think that part of it is extremely cool. And it makes you feel very valued beyond just the monetary amount, right? Like we don't talk about the money stuff in any of our calls. We talk about the human stuff in all of our calls. And that's what really makes you feel valued. So that's kind of where I'm at with it so far. I'm really looking forward to the next few months of it. And I think I'm going to really enjoy what's to come. I forgot to mention we do have like some VIP stuff at VCon, which is Gary's conference in Los Angeles this year. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I saw T-Pain is like coming to perform, and I actually saw him a long time ago at UCF perform at like UCF's homecoming in maybe like 2011 or something. And so I'm really excited to see him perform. Tia's going to come with me, so we're stoked to be able to go and do that together and connect more with everyone in person for that as well. So I think like to wrap this up, a couple of the learnings that I've had in the entrepreneurship world over these last 12 to 24 months. And I think like one big takeaway that I've got from being an entrepreneur and building a business and building a franchise and getting out there and betting on myself and paying money to do this program is that like short term, when you start a new business, like you're kind of betting on the business to win. Yeah, in the back of your head, you think, okay, I can do this. Like, but you have a lot of questions like, can I really do this? And then long term, you're betting on yourself to win. You know that the business can win. You know that the business is going to keep moving. And eventually you get to this like tipping point where you start understanding that like you have the power to make the change within your business. I think that's the big like unlock, the big key here is you have the power to make the change within your business. When you first start, you're kind of unsure. Do I have that power? The business is good. Like the idea is good. It's gonna grow. It's gonna win. And you're kind of short term betting on that to happen. The business is gonna win. And then long term, there's a tipping point where you're like, okay, I understand this. I get this. I'm the one that's going to make this business win, or I'm the one that's going to make myself win. I have no doubt right now that tomorrow, if the franchise and everything went away, I could build another business, if not larger than the one that I've already built. And I think that really goes to show how much you learn when you take a second to look back after like I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years now. Before that, I feel like I kind of was an entrepreneur through the music thing. Maybe not really because it wasn't like a full-blown business, but 8 years of doing this business and 6 years of franchising. Looking back, like I've learned so many things that I know I could apply to any industry, any business. And I've had that tipping point of where I really understand that like I have the power to change my business, to change other people's businesses, to help. And that's what I really love about entrepreneurship is helping other people. That's what I love about franchising is helping all of my franchisees grow their business, find things that they can do in their business to help their business. And that's why I continue to like help coaching at UCF once a month for a full day is because I really enjoy helping people grow their businesses, find problems and help them solve those problems within their business. And it's just cool looking back at it from where I am now and like understanding that. I think it's taken me a long time to understand that like I myself have the power to win. Whereas there was such a long period of time where I'm like, the business alone is going to win, you know? And yeah, I think the business alone could still win. But I think with me running the business and running my locations and doing everything that I'm doing is because I know that I'm betting on myself to win. And I know myself that I will win. And yeah, I think that's the key takeaway here is that there comes a point in every entrepreneur's career, quote unquote, that you have to like bet on yourself. And yeah, at the beginning, you're betting on yourself. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. It's going to, so on and so forth. But there becomes a larger point in your entrepreneurship journey that you're like, okay, now is the time where I really need to bet on myself because I understand so much more than when I first started. And so that's why I'm spending the money, the time, the bandwidth, the effort on doing this 120-day course, on taking time to refine processes across my business, taking time to really grow my personal brand. Like, I really understand who I am as a human now, and I think that comes with like, being 30 years old and over, and just like owning a business for a long period of time and starting a franchise and going through so much. I think you really learn a lot about who you are. And so now that I'm at that point, like I know that if I double down on myself, I'm only going to win bigger. And if you bet on yourself, right? If you bet on anything, you want that return to come back tomorrow. That would be the ideal scenario. Okay, if I bet $1,000,000, or if I invest, let's say it this way, if I invest $1,000,000, I want 1,000,001 to come back tomorrow, right? And that's just not reality in a lot of things. It takes time. It takes a lot of time for your investment to come back. Oftentimes people say it could take 3 years for you to like make back your investment in whatever that investment is. A lot of times investments are longer than that. So this, tens of thousands of dollars that I'm investing in myself, I don't plan on it coming back to me today or tomorrow. I plan on it coming back to me for the rest of my life. And I'm cool with that. And so that's what I'll leave you guys with. I think you should really consider investing in yourself, investing in your business, taking the time to give yourself the space to grow, give yourself the effort to grow, and give yourself the bandwidth to grow. And build that into your life in a way that allows you to really understand and spend the time and grow. Because if you do, I guarantee long term, you're going to walk out the other side being like, wow, I am so glad that I did that. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it. I hope this was a fun episode to kind of give you guys an idea of where everything is in my life. By the way, I have 2 other podcasts that I'm also trying to grow in the middle of all of this. So Get Up and Scale with Kai and Brett has been a really good podcast about franchising and kind of growing within the tourism industry. And then also I have one called Let's Yak, where I bring people out on kayaks and we have like a fun conversation while paddling around about their life and just funny things that we see while we're out on the water. And so I'm trying to grow those 2 podcasts. If you guys want to go check those out, please do that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to kind of coming on here and updating you guys with where the course is going, more learnings about entrepreneurship, having other speakers on here so I can interview more people and get to extract a little bit more value for you guys. But I wanted to, revamp this podcast, bring it back, get it going again. And this is the start to that. So here I am, 3 surgeries later, baby. You can't slow me down. All right. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And make sure to hit that subscribe button on Building a Buzz. Thanks.